welcome to the Athens City Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, January 5th, 2011. And a quorum has been established. Nicholas Bittner was unable to attend due to business conflict. Our first case will be, let's see, well, first of all, if there's anybody who does need to address the Planning Commission, could they please stand and raise their hands and swear in? Do you swear to tell the truth to the Planning Commission as you know it? Yeah. Okay, thank you. First case is number 08-13, Diversified Properties, Madison Heights, PUD. Who would like to, Jim?
Yes.
Okay, would you like to come to the podium?
Thank you. We've been here several different times regarding the Madison Heights project. We're actually here today to request a 2-year extension on the dates that are required. As we understand it, the formal approval date was on March 16th of 2009. That's the formalized approval, which would have required construction commencing by March 16th this year with completion by 2014. So we are simply here to request a 2-year extension for those construction commencement dates and completion of the project.
Any questions from the commissioners?
No, as far as I know, you've gotten all the, if I remember 3 years ago or 2 years ago, all the bugs need to be worked out and they're all done.
Done.
I'm told. Everything's been worked. It's no changes?
No changes.
Okay.
No.
It's just taking longer than you thought.
Right.
Okay. Nicholas had emailed saying that he had no problems with the Madison Heights project as long as the intentions haven't changed for what was previously approved. So do you want to go to a vote on?
I move that we extend it for 2 years.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, I'm sorry.
Correct.
Regarding the Mill Iron Union PUD.
How you doing? Tony Farian. We are here today. We attended a meeting several weeks ago about Paul Ogue and John were there, and they had proposed a green space requirement of 40% on all future developments, and I think that was something that hasn't been passed. But what we kind of did was we went back and we started to take a look at our project on what we were going to do on site. We had a couple of projects that we were going. We've got a couple visuals there that we were going to bring in under Title 41, and my son over there, just to kind of give you an idea of what are. I know it's kind of hard to see, but these
Probably just bring it up here.
Combination of the lots under Title 41 that we could indeed do right now under the current laws. And after that meeting, I kind of was talking to Paul, and we were talking to John about this, and they kind of suggested that a way that we may be able to travel was a PUD travel, a way to move that. There's actually other drawings on the other one too there, Paula. Here, I'll get that. Of what we're actually proposing. This is what we know we can do under Title 41.
Here, let's pass it to you, Harry.
I know that's kind of awkward.
Okay, let's get it under the mics. How's that sound?
Okay.
I will not like
I'll
it
do the
if
best
you
of
break
my
the mics.
ability. See this, and these are rough drawings right here. We've got a body of land here.
What's the location again?
This is on Union and Mill Iron.
Yeah.
East
Here's
Union, bottom of Jeff Hill. Other side.
bottom of Jeff
Other
Hill.
side.
Here's the body of land that we have to work with. And on the larger building on the bottom, we could put that building right there. And we can put this building here. And those buildings consist of The smaller of the two consists of 12 units, 6 3-bedroom, 6 2-bedroom, a total of 30 bedrooms. The larger of the two consist of 18 2-bedrooms, 6 3-bedroom, 54 total bedrooms is basically what it amounts to. And under the current Title 41, we can make that happen. But we were listening to these guys about the green features, and I was in total agreement with what they were talking about. I thought, wow, this is a great idea, not only for the environmental impact that I think that Paul was kind of stressing, but not only that, but this would be a great area for the students to kind of hang out in. Under what we have here right now, what I did was we actually put two plans together. All right, and John Valentor helped me do this.
Jeff Hill.
Jeff Hill's over here.
Okay.
There, it might get a little better idea of what we're kind of looking at.
Jeff Hill's here.
Stewart,
Street's here.
Right.
Mill Line's here. East Union or Jeff Hill's going this way. So this is west. No, wait a second. Jeff Hill's going this way. Yeah, Jeff Hill's going. This is west. This way.
That's going north.
And that's going north.
Right.
Okay, so Jeff Hill is over here,
Yep.
going towards Mill Street's this way,
Correct.
and going towards this old railroad bed. That behind it, going towards the river.
Right.
Little triangle a lot there in the corners of the house we just had tore down. Right there,
Okay.
24.
The one we had
Is
the,
this
uh,
Cody's?
How many houses
It
are
says
currently
McMody?
located on it?
Right now, I got a house
That's the name of the
here,
business.
I got a house here, here, and here, so those are going to be torn down. And then all this is just a little under an acre. Actually, I wrote down the lot coverage. This is Plan 1, and this is why I'm here today, just to get a kind of feel. We came up with two plans. Plan 1, the lot coverage on both of them is about 39,337 feet. What we've done here is we've got, if we were to take this plan, there's two differences in these plans right here. One is one has 65 parking places, and the other one has 62 parking places. And take into consideration, we've got 84 bedrooms here, all right? Once again, I can go back and do this, and I'll actually have 90 parking places. But after listening to these guys and be able to create some of these green features, alleviate some of the stormwater runoff, put kids in a better planned unit development with a lot of green, we've come up with 39% green area on this lot right here. But we're going to lose the parking, okay? That this is one, and the reason I'm showing you two options is what John and I had talked about was the parking requirements in this town. And John had pulled up some elements of building and some parking suggestions that a lot of larger cities are going to because of these reasons, because of proper planning, green development.
I'd like to say he's talking about John Valentin.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And we came up and we pulled up some stuff. And in in creating vital spaces and job, and those who design, build, and finance and plan build environments, unfortunately, too often as acres of asphalt attest, engineering standards are applied cavalierly. They are not used properly to help design the place. Even just a parking lot can be made into a place of delight. What the current code says that a parking spot is 9 by 20. And what we're proposing on Plan 1 is, and this is, I didn't do this, this is in their books. What we're proposing is a parking lot on this one right here of 8.5 wide by 18.5 long, which meets requirements that communities that are moving forward and looking at bringing in good development with green features. And there's an outline here on high density, so they're giving me like a model, very high turnover such as post office convenience stores, high turnover such as general retail stores, medium turnover such as airports and hospitals, and low turnover, which is what we feel we fall into the category of, which is such as employee parking lots. When I see this and I see what happens through my experience, these kids are only here 8.5 months out of the year. So basically these parking lots that I have today sit empty, not completely empty, about 4.5 months out of the year. And that's just the reality of that. I'm sorry, Paul, go ahead.
Okay, a couple questions. One is I see this says version 1, version 2, and then
Right.
it says site plan 1, site plan 2. Are these?
This one is up to code.
Okay, I guess the
9 by
question
20.
is. Okay, so this represents site plan. Actually,
Yeah.
it's 2. This should be okay.
Yeah,
This is
and as you can
30%.
see,
And this is non-conforming size parking spaces.
that's
what-
correct.
Okay.
And as you can see, by not conforming, we've added 3 more parking places and reduced asphalt, and actually got 1% more in green space and added 3 more parking places to this. If we were to go to what the code specifies, I'm under the understanding that through the process, a PUD has some flexibility on parking.
That's the intention of a PUD.
Right, and that's to start this off, that's where, but just one synopsis would be if we were to look at this a little bit differently and moving forward, we can get a little bit more green space and actually create 3 more parking places.
Okay.
Now, and this is option 1.
But you'll
okay?
still you need 80?
Well, up to the standards, I'll need 84 parking places.
84, wow.
So we're at 79 right there. The
Now, this
parking
says
space on this, 65,
78%.
78%
Capacity.
capacity.
Oh, so that's wait a second. Okay.
But if it was 1 to 1, you need 84.
Would be at 100%
78%
of meeting the requirement. That is correct.
is providing 78% of the park.
So you're 19 short. Is that what I'm hearing?
Where do they go?
And on this one here, going by the code standards of a parking lot, we are at 74%, 62. So I'm trying to bring a different approach into this to where we're actually reducing some asphalt, bringing in a little bit more green, and increasing the parking. Although it may be minimum 3 spots, in my take on this is important. I don't see a lot of those kids down there, from my experience, driving big trucks. Most of them drive the smaller cars. So I'm kind of trying to do some forward thinking here as far as bringing in some other elements, not only of design, we're looking at this project that like all the other properties we have, we finance, we build, we control, we manage, and we orchestrate the entire process. We've been working closely with these guys. We've actually had one meeting already, and I've met several times with John over certain things. And we're trying to meeting with my architect and some engineering, environmental, and construction outfits, and we can accomplish these goals. We've proven our abilities over the last 25 years of our experience in acquiring, planning, financing, construction, and managing these developments. Additionally, we realize that development is not only the beginning of a successful investment strategy. We have a property management division in place to maintain and position all of these projects. We have a long-term approach to developing, owning, and managing real estate assets, and it's made us active in the community. Not only, also economically, when you look at the whole overall, and creating jobs. So aside from all those things, we're trying to create this close to 40%. And to keep in mind that the fact that I'm trying to work forward with you guys on this, and I'm sure working with Paul and some of these other guys will help me move forward with this, but I don't want to do this, but I can. And that's what I'm getting at. I guess today here, if you guys think that the 8.5 would be a problem in moving forward, I'll move forward with this one. So I'm trying to ask your opinion on which one you guys would be more comfortable with, if any, whether it would be the 8.5 or I should move forward with this one. And then I can kind of take my direction and move forward, and without, and really I think the bottom line is I don't have enough parking doing it this way.
There's no consideration at reducing the number of units in order to match?
When I look at the economic factor of what I've invested in this piece of land, it doesn't make sense for me, especially because of the fact that I can take this right now as it sits and do this.
Of
And
course,
give you
yeah.
maybe 15% green area.
And subsequently, any further. Okay, if the law of 60% passes, and of course there's a public hearing this
I understand that, sir.
is coming up, this would become a non-conforming unit.
That's correct.
Any
But I can get
improvements-
this under
Yes,
And I'm sorry.
any improvements, any alterations, you'd have to go back.
Right.
And go back to conformity, which means you'd have to downsize it eventually.
Right.
If there's any construction in the future that has to be done.
Right. Well, we've already got the financing in place for this, and I'm ready to start immediately.
How many
So,
stories is
as
this?
far as any consideration on that would go, I could apply for these under Title 41 right now and be approved.
I'm aware of that.
And I can do that now if I need to. But we're kind of, Paul has kind of helped me put a timeline together, and we've kind of looked at that and we're hopefully giving people a chance to maybe look at one of these two options to move forward, because I'd like to see this green area too. I mean, boy, that sure looks good, if you ask me. I mean, this is a great area to keep the kids out of the parking lots and on the streets. We'll bring in some good landscaping design on this project, but we are going to be under the parking requirement. That's really the bottom line. But looking at reducing asphalt and less waste on the storm sewers and just the green feature itself, for me personally, when I look at it, is appealing. I think it's a great image.
How many stories is this?
These are three-story
Three
buildings.
stories, okay.
And the first story has parking underneath it, this
Yeah.
portion of it.
That's correct.
To deal with the floodplain issues, I assume? Is that
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
And,
I spoke with John about that and Paul.
okay. And you're comfortable with non-conforming sizes underneath the building, I guess, too? Because I can see sloppy driving over here, no damage. I could see sloppy driving in here and some.
You know, I'm not an expert on parking, so that's why I look at things like this
Okay.
to see what other communities have done. And actually, if you look at this, it actually says 8.25 and 18.3, what actually is what forward-thinking communities are doing. And I do realize there is a law here in the city of Athens, a code that says that it's 9, which I can roll back to. And that's, but losing 3 spots.
Yeah, my concern, I can see small spaces here. I worry about people hitting the pilings and the foundation here by trying to, wedge in. I know cars are smaller in general.
Where do these other 22 residents park? They pretty much all bring a car. And I also want to ask you, are Stanson's units, are those being demolished? Are they?
No, that's not, I can't speak for him. I really don't know what he's doing.
I guess
over
what
there.
I'm looking at this, it looks like.
Now, this
it's
corner
facing-
is over here.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
This
I guess we
corner's
have
mill
to
is
kinda-
over here. This corner is over here. So really what you're looking at is this parking lot area is going
Trying
to
to
end
be
up
like
over here.
that,
Yeah.
looking at it the way
Yeah, sorry.
we're looking at it.
Yeah, the only reason I moved it so
Match
we knew
up
where
with this.
Jeff Hill was.
And you have 3 structures?
There's currently 4 houses right here, and this is vacant land right here.
That's what you just, it's been leveled. A lot of the stuff's been graded.
Yeah,
Across
yeah.
the street.
These 4 houses right here will be leveled come June the 1st. Or, well, as soon as the kids move out.
And
This
you've already
will all be
done
one piece of
some
land.
dirt work over there.
Yeah, I cut some trees down
Okay.
over there.
What's the projected increase of residents here now versus where you want to go?
Right now, I think we've got, 3, 6, 11, 12, 13, there's like 16 students living in those houses.
Do you offhand,
To 84.
To 84.
okay, offhand, and I know you have property here and here.
Mhm.
Offhand, do you know what the percentage of your tenants own cars or bring cars to?
Absolutely. Now, this parking lot, I will admit, has 16, and it's not, it's never full.
Okay.
If you go over to this one on any given day, this parking lot, and I welcome you guys to drive over there, is 2/3 full most of the time, which was something that I had kind of spoke at the last planning commission about, or whatever it was we were at.
City
I can't
council.
remember. City council, that's what it was at. And I said, I welcome you guys to go down there. I would have gladly, because I think we were on this project somewhere around 30% green or something like that. And I didn't want to put all those parking places in there, but that's required by the city of Athens, and it was under Title 41, which it would be on this. But if you go down there, most of these lots on this back side are empty. And I welcome you to go down there right now and look. I mean, I'm not just making these things up. It happens, and
Do you charge an additional fee for parking?
we do not charge additional fees for parking.
Okay.
I've always been if you're a tenant of ours, you get free parking, and that's the way I will probably stay the rest of my life. At least today. How's that? I'm just being honest. I mean,
Yeah.
my thing is these kids pay me enough rent to where I can give them a parking space.
Looking at the number of trees and landscaping, it probably is appropriate. Would this fit the tree commission? Do you know, you guys?
I haven't done a calculation of how many trees, but
Would be
it probably
required?
would be all right. I mean,
Yeah.
for where he's got spaces. we'd have to
Yeah, we
figure
kind
it
of
out.
showed what little green we actually would have, which is pretty insignificant. I mean, that's just one big parking lot, basically, with a couple of apartment buildings on it. And under the current laws, I can do that right now, but you guys got me thinking after that council meeting about, and talking with Paul, and I totally agree with him. I mean, it would be really nice for these kids to have a place to go out and throw a football and do some of these other things. And that's why we went back and forth on this. And I wouldn't even need to do that if I wasn't looking forward with you. Because right now, I can apply for this now.
What's the current status of the tree commission, the tree ordinances? I thought they had to have a breakup every so many parking spaces in a line. That's not the case anymore?
Based on the square footage of the.
Total square footage, okay, that was the alteration, okay.
And if I remember correctly, when I ran this, I was probably like 7 over. There's 91 parking places here. So if I need to decrease a few of those to put trees in, I can do it and still meet Title 41 requirements.
Get a wee
But-
bit more green coverage.
A little bit more, right? But I want this to be a nice project also, and that's why I'm doing this. This is why I'm spending the extra time, money, and effort to do this right now. Will I do this if I have to? Absolutely. Do I want to work with the community and you guys to try to make this a better project? Absolutely. That's why I'm here today.
I mean, something like this, the only concern I have right now would be the overflow where the additional parkers or, people would go. This is appealing to me from the standpoint that, first of all, the project itself is appealing to me because I think most of the houses down there have seen their day. And, I think this is on the face of it, is a good use of how it's going to integrate with that neighborhood, with the green space that it does project. It's just that additional, where do those additional cars go? I like this in the sense, this was the one with the larger parking spaces.
Yeah, standard size.
Because I just don't have as much faith maybe as other people
Okay.
do in
Parking
how well
abilities.
parking abilities.
No, and I'm glad that we're talking about that because that's what then I could eliminate this thought process and at least move forward with this as I go through this. That way I can concentrate my efforts on working on this right here as it sits as opposed to this. Because I think the next meeting is in a couple weeks and we're prepared to continue to move forward with the application process. A surveyor to come out and get all these things on dot for me, prepared to spend that money, prepared to start moving forward with this project or this one. We'll have our elevation drawings for that next meeting. I think I went down through the list and I think I can pretty much be in compliance with everything on that PUD list here in 2 weeks.
What I like about this also, from my vantage point, is that it seems to reverse what's been going on down on Mill Street or Stewart Street with just the proliferation of all the vertical building.
Well, it will be
Well, this
vertical.
will be
This will be
vertical.
vertical.
Well, it is, but
Two-story.
at the
We-
same
we-
time, that it is offering a little bit more open space than what we are seeing down there with the developments taking place over the last 6 or 7
I've been one of those. I currently own this building right here on this lot that maybe one of them that you're talking about, which is 3-story. But I also believe the building has some character. It's not just, I've got hip roofs on them with some design on them. The same with this one. It's got a hip roof. It's cut up. It's an 8/12 pitch. So there's some character there. It's we're not using vinyl
Right. Well,
siding.
there's the one that's down towards the middle of the street that's just recently gone up, and
Okay.
I think this reverses some of that a little bit, and I see a little bit more green space that's more appealing to me that fits into, I think, the historical flow. I mean, I used to spend a lot of time down that way, and I think this tends to get a little bit more into the historical sense of where that neighborhood, used to be.
With the 84 occupancy, how many
It
did
was-
you
it
say
wasn't
you're
that.
serving in that?
84?
How many now?
16, but take into consideration, we've got empty
Serious
lots here
density.
right now, too.
Right, I got it. But I mean, you are increasing and adding to the density of
And
this.
if I believe I'm right on
neighborhood.
this, I think that was the
Got it.
high-density area which the comprehensive plan had kind of alluded to, that these are the areas that we're wanting to move these kids off the east side and some of these other places, the west side. And this is just my interpretation. I don't know what the exact intent of it was, but my thought was right here is the college, right here.
Yeah.
And this is where it all happens. And being right here, I would think that the kids would be maybe a little less apt to need a car than they would over on Morris Avenue or down on the west side. And maybe with the economic conditions with some of these families and going into a place like this, they'd say, hey, you really don't need a car. You
I
really
don't put as much faith. I understand where you're going with that. I don't put as much faith in it. 'Cause I just think that students today really like their mobility, and they like to go out to Kroger. They don't really want to wait on the bus all the time. So that aspect of it, I don't know.
Minimize
We
it.
can't count on that.
Well, okay, really, a couple things here. One is that over time, the people are starting to question the high density from the comprehensive plan because of the Palmer festivals, et cetera,
Right.
as well as the lack of green space for the place to play. Really, what we're talking about here is kind of a philosophy shift in saying, okay, we don't have to do one bedroom, one parking space. I mean, we feel that this can be amended. This is a PUD will have to fly through, I guess probably needs a variance for 2-acre lot size, is that the case?
Yes.
As well as we'll need a variance for
parking.
parking. Those are the main two right there.
Yep.
And if we go with the parking footprint in terms of size, we'd have a third variance in terms of non-conforming parking spaces. This still has to pass the muster at the council level too. And I just bring that up as an element here.
Right.
Realizing, of course, if we decide that really, as a paradigm shift, we should not go with one bedroom, one parking space, we as planning commission can always bring that forward and say, let's get rid of that. And of course, upon approval of council.
Right.
So this is what we're looking at here is a good philosophy. Realize if we go with the 60% lot coverage, it still will not fit in to the future
Right.
box.
Right.
Okay. If we say let's change it, it still has to pass the muster from council for either changing the law or doing a PUD. I like it. It looks philosophically. I think I like the looks of it.
And I understand what you're saying, but
I also think that this could serve as a model for taking a look at that to see if this is working. I mean, that's just my thought process. Unfortunately, that's what models are for. If
Yeah.
you see that they don't work, then, and I'm just bringing in the negative aspect of it, but I think the positive aspect of it is I was listening to the council when they were talking about this, and I was listening to Paul, and to be honest with you, I didn't like what I was hearing, but after thinking about it, I went back and talked to my architect, and I said, let's take a look at this. And when he presented this to me and we started looking at the green feature on this, we're like, you know what? This is a much better project. It's in this high-density area. I understand the car thing. I definitely understand that. More kids seem to be having cars. But maybe this will influence some of them not to bring a car because the college campus is right here.
Okay. Another issue here, of course, is if let's say we say this is a good idea, let's start moving forward with it. We can anticipate other developers coming in and saying, can I rearrange my requirements now as the PUD? And then we have to say, do we have some kind of philosophy that we do initiate this? So the good philosophy here is, as you say, it's right next to campus.
Right.
The other one is, okay, when do we say that you have to have all that parking? How many feet away?
How far
How many yards
away?
away?
Right.
How many blocks away do we start saying, well, wait a second, you're on the Far East Side. I don't think you're going to be everybody's going to be able to walk to campus.
right. But if you're choosing between this and this,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I lean towards this, with the caveat that we're just one hurdle that has to
well,
be jumped.
and I go back. I don't know. You obviously know more than me with the Mill Street project several years ago. That
More than several.
more than several years ago.
Yeah.
Several years ago. The whole idea was density was good. Well, now we're finding that we do question that, and I do understand that perspective.
Mhm.
But at the same time, this is, in terms of location for students,
It's closer to the 60% coverage.
Right.
It's closer to getting us in line with a stormwater management plan eventually. Okay.
Right.
Again, the only hurdle is we're moving that parking requirement over a little bit. So we'll see other people coming forward at us with it. It's again, council has its own mind of what they think should happen here too. We don't know their
Right.
mind. We can recommend.
I think one of the things we've talked about too, if it is going to be a reduction and there's future projects, that we establish a minimum number,
Percentage, you mean?
Well, maybe in excess of 75 beds. Under that, you're still 1-to-1. But then once you get higher than that, maybe we start looking at reductions.
Isn't the purpose of
projects
a
like home
plan
replacement,
unit
coach
development
rooms,
situational too?
Yes.
I mean, other than like setting down like strict, restrictions on something, I mean, and like you guys are bringing up the point where this area would be, in my opinion, a little bit more apt to have kids say, man, I'm right there, and their parents saying, you know what, you really don't need that car because everything's right there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And as opposed to maybe somebody maybe moving something a little bit off over into the east side or down the west side, where it's almost going to be a little more essential to have a car because kids by nature don't want to walk.
I'm in agreement with that. Again, I just realized we are talking about a little bit of a shift what goes on in the future, and that we really don't have a philosophy in mind except for the idea of lot coverage, and we have the law, and then we have what our philosophies have changed over time are.
I'm trying to
But
listen,
we've also
Paul.
I
minded
know.
ourselves.
I'm not being critical.
No, I understand
I
that.
say I like this one over this one just because again I am suspect of how parking
Okay,
ability.
that's
and
cool.
sense. But well, wait a second. I'm just one member, and really this is an informal communication, and,
Right.
that you're asking for us for a feel for this, and I haven't heard anything from you, Harry. Anything that you, Leonard? What do you think?
I do like, that. Either one of those over this.
Over that, okay.
Yeah.
I guess, and I understand this is informal, and I think Paul would probably be more of an expert than me, obviously, on this narrow parking. But if I am going to move forward, I can't like juggle two plans at you guys. You see what I'm saying? I can't continue to. So I was hoping with this informal gathering, or maybe we could talk about this a little bit later about this 8.5 thing. If that would pop, I can't just. If I'm going to move, I'm trying to look for some help here to either move this way or this way so I can eliminate one of these thought processes and move forward with, okay, we're not real comfortable with the 8.5, which I've heard, as opposed to this one here we're more leaning towards. That way I can focus my attention on this one as opposed to this one and keep two, it's kind of like juggling, you know what I mean?
Okay, I know what you're trying to say there. Again, my first question when you brought this up right now was, why so many beds? I mean, and that's Paula's question too. I mean, why do you have to max out? And the fact is, say, well, I can do it this way. Title 41 would allow you to do that.
I have this enormous investment down there on that piece of land. I really do, Paul. I mean, I know that you guys aren't supposed to consider that as an aspect of what you're doing, but when I look at my what I have financially invested in this very rare, in my opinion, piece of property, just because this is just my opinion as a businessman. When I look at the investment that I have in this, it almost has to make sense for me to max it out. It really does. So, but in looking at what you guys are trying to talk about with more green, I can still get your green, but it's going to require less parking. And that's the bottom line.
How do you address that? As a property management owner, you're going to be, prospectively renting to 84 students with 62 parking spaces. Is it first come, first serve? Is there some other place?
I think
that you're going to...
we were talking a little bit about that. We haven't come up with a solid solution, but one of the things that we have talked about at our office is on the 3-bedroom units, maybe limiting them to 2 cars. And that would be an inner office type situation that we'll try to make, available to, kind of what we're going to try to come up with as a model for us to stick with too.
What do you see as a mix as to 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units? What are you seeing as a mix here? Off the top. I mean, I'm not going to hold you to it.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, you just said if I have a 3-bedroom
there are 24 2-bedroom units. There's 12 3-bedrooms. So even that little mix, as Paula described, that would only eliminate 12 parking spots.
I was going to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's 24 two-bedroom units and 12 three-bedroom units.
No ones. That's right.
No.
No, okay. Just wondered.
Okay, where are you going?
But I was going to say, I graduated from Ohio State, and they didn't have this 1-to-1 ratio.
No.
I lived in two-bedroom, but 2 years I lived off campus, and we only had one parking space between the two of us. And it was, as far as I know, it was like that for everyone. And the person who didn't have the car, you just made do, or you didn't have a car on campus.
Yeah, we got
So-
pretty tight on this in '97. There was an ordinance basically saying 1 bedroom, 1 car. And I know the previous code director used to point out how strange it was that we only require 70 square feet for a bedroom and 180 for a parking space. So you could live in your car more comfortably in the bedroom space. So we're aware of this disconnect, and the idea is if we try to get higher density, we will always be stuck to a certain density because of the parking, and that's an issue right there.
But I will also say we didn't have any kind of green space like this in the one units I lived in.
Again, this is Stewart right in here.
Yes, sir.
It's actually there's another land property between though. This is
Yeah, right here.
that's that whole line.
Oh.
Which my hopes, and hopefully he's not listening today, are someday to be able to take these 4 properties, because these houses are in,
But
I don't even think they're occupied, but that's really none of my business, and be able, and we have spoke about the possibility of me taking these off, buying these properties from him, and then tearing these houses down and developing something a little nicer, which at that point will conform more to the 40%, which is fine with me, because at that point, I'm going to have a nice little community going on here that we're going to be able to manage. All
Then
the
you could put in
buildings
your
are going to
parking.
look the same.
So,
Now, just because he said he wants that
Yeah,
in public,
yeah, no.
that means
Right,
the price just
right,
doubled.
right. That's what I was saying. I hope that Dave isn't watching this, but if he is, it is what it is. How's that?
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure Dave knows the worth of that property without me saying, "Oh, I'm interested," because he knows I'm interested.
Okay, what do you want from us? Just a nod, or
I would say a nod on which one, and because you guys are the ones who make the nods as far as I'm, I understand city council.
most times it's a vote? But you're right. Okay.
But even if what your feelings would be towards the 8.5, and from what I'm hearing, is the 8.5 thing is a little less.
Well, I don't know.
All right, Paul,
Opinions?
can you interject on this on
the
any of
dimensions
your
of a parking space?
yeah on any of your
John would be a better
experience?
expert, but
Well, it's funny because he
6
had
inches narrower.
he had two different
Can you
books that
fit
we
your
pulled
truck
out
down
on
there?
that.
In a,
My truck don't fit anywhere in this city.
No, mine doesn't either. Right.
Right, so-
Ours drives
cars are
trucks.
getting smaller though, there's no doubt. The size of the average car
especially if the gas
is
keeps
shrinking relative to where it was
I
10
think
years
it's
ago.
ironic that we have 9 by 18 or 8 or 10 by 10 by 18 or
Right.
9 by 20. So as the narrower it gets, the longer it has to get. Well, obviously, the narrower it gets, the smaller the car is. Too.
That's
So
true.
We're talking about
It's kind of-
153 square feet versus 180. Is that what I'm seeing?
It'd still be 18 long. but that's-
18,
Yeah.
yeah, 18 by
18
8.5
and a
is
half,
153.
Actually, it's scaled at 18 and a half.
Oh, 18 and a half.
by
Okay.
18.
Yeah,
Okay.
which was from this design element and forward thinking on what other communities are doing. This was the guide that we followed, the model that we followed.
And there, when people take a parking space and lay it out a 9 foot wide, that's from center to stripe to center to stripe, and by the time you go inside stripe inside, you'll probably be 6 anyways.
Okay, so that's about
I
157.
know what you're saying about the number of units,
right.
but I also think that, again, going historically, maybe this kind of a project is more in keeping with what the people who had put the Mill Street project together had in mind, rather than just what we've seen on Palmer and Mill and Stewart.
well, my concerns remain,
But yeah,
where do I potentially, where do these other 22?
right, and that is my concern. And if you came back with this project, I would be more interested in hearing what a concrete proposal would
Question,
be.
Tony. Have you investigated doubling up and then asking for variance for staff parking underneath the area?
No, but I'd be open to that. But that's just
I
one
think you'd
more
be-
variance for stacked
Well,
parking.
but you wouldn't need a variance for the parking, then you'd be variance for staff parking. And like you said, these cars don't move too frequently. You look how many spaces you got underneath of there and underneath here,
Yeah,
if they were to
yeah,
double up.
Yeah.
Stack them for each
I would
two-bedroom
meet the
apartment.
parking requirement then. I mean, right there's.
Probably more expensive build to do it
It
that
would
way.
be, it would be, I mean, it's just,
You're going to add 26 more spots. What? Rent a few out.
Probably you're gonna have to have some room for utilities going upward, though. You're gonna have to have some kind of.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
You're
gonna
right
have to
about
knock
that.
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to put the whole line up. Like
Yeah, I actually don't know if that would work. Because there has to be somewhere in there.
No, you can cut
Structure
out.
too, that,
Yeah, because that main wall going down there's got, I mean, yeah, it could work. You're right.
Just like the
It
exterior
could
wall.
work.
You
And
might
then
be
if
able
you
to
were
just do
before us
some
saying,
stacked as well, Tony,
you know,
just to bring up that
something
number
much lesser
of
than
amount
22.
of parking higher.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Paul?
Not doing stacked throughout the entire building, but maybe you know,
Some.
stacking here and stacking here or like there, so that you're, even if you're not getting it up to 1-to-1 per bedroom, you're getting it to
90%.
90% or
80% or something,
85,
yeah.
75, just to bring up some of that, to minimize some of the fears.
But you
that
still
I'm
need
getting right now.
two variances for that, one for the parking, one for the stack.
Right.
So what do you guys think?
I would be inclined, if he's asking which of the three to,
Or at
continue,
least the 9 versus 8.5. How's
continue
that?
working on, I would probably still say the site plan number 2 here.
This
Okay.
one right here?
This one.
And you still have
Which
concern?
identified as version 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
I
site
would
plan
ask-
two.
I would ask for you to look at the stacked parking,
And the,
to
yes,
alleviate
and
that. That is quite a hefty variance request.
Okay, and I appreciate that thought. I have, time is not on my side also. We have to take a look at that. And so it's like, if I was to present this and I was turned down, I have an alternative. You see what I'm saying? If I keep going back, then eventually I'm going to run out of time. And my ultimate goal is realistically, one way or another, this is getting built. That's the reality of this whole situation.
I would revisit the idea of trying to do a stack and get the percentage higher. I lean towards the standard parking space. even
Okay.
though, you know, again, you say your truck can't go in any of these parking spaces. Okay, he's got an unusual truck, but not that unusual.
Right.
I don't know if you
Same
have to
truck.
try to get 100%, go towards 100%. If we're going to realize eventually we'll come up with a philosophy and a policy of what percentage we want here. I suspect it won't go under. I'd be very cautious about saying we want it under 75% to start with. I mean, this does it for that, but again, I always worry about the guys with the giant beaters that are trying to get into a parking space like this.
Yeah, but
that's just me.
I'm trying to think forward, though,
I
by
know.
design standards that are forward thinking. That's the only thing I was trying to do. And I don't think people spend a lot of money on these things unless they think it's going to work or have seen it work in the future.
Well, I'm
If
just
this is
saying,
off
those
a
design
percent,
standards of forward thinking
does
is
that-
the
does that
Walmarts
really
around the United
impede
States
the
have
variance,
to park a
the-
mile
the-
away, 'cause I
the
can't
success
fit
of
in
the
there.
Actually, it doesn't. It
No, not
addresses
really,
that
but if we're-
issue of the
Okay, we're gonna
grocery
get another one in the
stores.
future.
And those are
I know
actually
about
9 foot wide.
consistency, yeah.
Right. So
And the next one
I'm
may be
trying to
72.
fit this into what
Next
I
one's
Your
maybe
truck is
70
9
and
foot wide
68.
Well, I do. Well, no, I don't like
This
to.
is where the killer comes in on what is the area in between there. People were reducing that down below 24 feet, and they're taking that, see, they're keeping it at 24.
Right.
You keep it at 24, that'll work.
This
For your
configuration.
This
For
here,
just about anything. What you need, it's not so much the size of the space.
It's the turning
the
behind
problem.
it.
It's the area between here and here
Mm,
becomes
so
the
turn
issue.
around.
So if it's 24 feet or 20 to 24 is maintained in there, you can get larger vehicles, even if it in those smaller.
we're talking about stacking anyways.
Right.
To me, I just see this as an oasis when you consider, if you've been down there, you consider the long view with the American collegiate parking, all the asphalt, all the cement that's just around that area. This, to me, starts to, as I said, reverses that a little bit.
Okay. Sounds like you've got a nod to go in this direction.
Okay.
Okay, Harry?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, well, of course, we have Nicholas who's out there, but I don't think it would be that different.
With the exploration of the stack part, yes.
To just bring this a number up a little, I would hesitate to say you're going to have to clear out everything in the bottom because you do need that infrastructure to get up to the second.
And to me, the stack parking is appealing because, again, you have a lot of cars that just sit here
Well,
in the corner. But
I always kind of think that's kind of also, if you got one guy in behind another, because we don't issue parking places, then somebody gets trapped in an emergency situation,
Right.
and they got 36 doors to knock on to try to find the right guy.
yeah, and I wouldn't want to. That would not be an ideal.
That
But
would
to
kinda
make
turn
to me to make
off,
this
yeah.
work.
Bedrooms go underneath.
I'm just bringing the other side of that
If you
in.
do them by two-bedroom, this is apartment 1, or apartment A, apartment B, apartment C, and there's their 2 apartments.
That's a good idea, Paul.
If you sign them like that, then it's.
Then they know their
your
roommates.
buddies, Yeah.
Says who uses the car more often at that
A
point.
lot of times you're gonna, you got a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment, the 2 or 3 people that live there are probably gonna all jump in the car together and go out to Kroger, go out to Walmart. You're not gonna,
Hopefully they're all friends.
Will this have an office in it?
We have looked at that, and that is a
Getting
possibility
an extra key?
of taking one of these apartments and just making it an office.
You probably do it with one of your other. Since
Yeah,
you're
we-
going to have
we've
this
been-
nice little enclave here that
We've
you're
been kind of
planning.
talking about that
Okay.
a little bit. So you would like to see this parking go up a little bit.
Explore the stacking. I would, as I say, wouldn't recommend trying to cover the entire, take out the whole bottom, but maybe we can change the percentage a little bit. I don't know. That's just me.
yeah.
Joel, your
Agreed,
calls too.
agreed.
Yeah, the stack, and then, if that's not working, then plan B, where do the extra cars
Cars
go?
go.
Well, they can always rent from us. Parking, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Put your business card down there.
But if you said you had some extra spaces in one of your other
Well,
offices,
you know what,
Really?
and I do, and that's why I welcome you guys to go down there and take a look at that. But that's under Title 41, which is already set in stone to the fact that, hey, I got 7, 8, 9 parking places there that sit empty every single day.
I would like to add, and I know Tony doesn't want to hear this, but he does own this lot here as well. And the reason he's doing this is to keep it under 1 acre for the FEMA requirements and everything on fill and such. That lot could be
Parking.
someday.
have to bring that up, John.
Well, it's, you
Has
gotta
deed
throw it out
restricted parking.
you could sell
Which
the
is an option that can a PUD, what'd you say?
Deed restricted
Deed
Deed
parking.
restrict parking.
I imagine it could be in play. I don't think that would be impossible.
BZA approves them. So,
But again, as a PUD, it doesn't have to go through BZA. It goes through
I'm
us
just
and then council.
giving
Yeah,
some examples.
that would actually work easier. That would be much more
I don't have
palatable.
a problem with that. At looking at that.
Potential building site?
You guys, you're killing me here. 'Cause
I
I don't
do.
even have to deal with this.
Well, if they're gonna ask you, where could you possibly put 20 more spaces?
I'm going to say right here, this is what I'm presenting. I have to take a stand somewhere. I mean, it's either or the way I see it. I mean, I have to take a stand somewhere. Before I even went to this meeting that I was invited to, I was moving forward with this. I was already moving forward with this. You guys brought this to my attention, and I'm showing you a model of how I think it can work with the elements. And now it's like more parking. Well, we need to take a stand somewhere.
Sure.
Tony, I think I would still show that other lot on here, show it as green space. And say, look, it's not part of the project, but I own the property. And I throw more green space out there, so this is not part of it, because for various reasons. And I
Is that
may
a
build
full-size
there
lot?
someday.
That is a full-size
Just
lot.
so the planning commission's aware, this is there's this lot right here, okay? We have Title 25 floodplain.
Regulations, yeah.
We had the 20 and the 50-year floodplains mapped by RJM Engineering, certified by a professional engineer, all that good stuff, based upon hydrologic and hydro H&H study that Ohio University did in the Army Corps, and it's using their methodology. our code allows for the importation of fill in the 20 and the 50-year floodplain without compensation based upon, it's like, if you've got a lot or a project that's less than 1 acre, you're allowed to bring 1 cubic foot of fill in for every
2 cubic foot. Per
2
every-
cubic.
2 cubic foot per square foot.
That's right. Okay. So 2 cubic feet per square foot without compensation. If you need to import more fill than that, it means you have to create compensation on site, which generally means you got to build some sort of retention pond or something of that. If your lot is greater than 1 acre, you're only allowed to bring in 1 cubic foot for every square foot of
Half a
surface,
cubic
or
foot.
half cubic foot.
Reducing it by a quarter, what, 3/4?
Yeah,
Wow.
if you tie this in, Mr. Farian is at about 1.014 acres. He is literally about 5 square feet over 1 acre. If you add this in, if you take this down, he's at about 0.85 acres. So there's a marginal difference when you add that in there. That clearly, from a development standpoint, makes you say, if I pull this out,
You're good to go.
All
Right.
this land
And-
drops quite a bit, but when I can bring in this extra dirt, I can make this all flow. I mean, all where you're just walking right out, and the grass is right there, and these kids can just walk over here and throw their football and have their picnics, and I'm going to do some things over here, some picnic tables, and there'll be some lighting out here, and some other things to where I can keep them off the streets and put them in the yard, which I think is also going to help me and help the community. Instead of pushing them out into the streets and into the parking lots, we've created a green area of almost 40% of almost an acre, really, which is quite a bit of an area. You could play a football game on that.
10 foot per feet.
And you'd still have 84 occupants on this property.
Both of them
as
are
well
saying
as that.
occupancy.
Yeah.
And Paul's right. That's what started leading with this acre, because everything's going to drop.
Yeah.
Now there's going to be steps up, steps up, steps up. Keep in mind, I've got to meet the
88 stuff, yeah.
88, right? So now, which is going to in turn make you bring in big, long. It's really going to start affecting the look of the project more so than, and also the feel of being able to just walk out into your yard.
There are first floor apartments on this, right? Right now, would there
It'd
be?
be elevated.
It's out of the floodplain.
Okay,
Can a
but it
variance
will
be
be first
granted
floor.
by council on the PUD for the going over 1 acre on that fall?
Oh, no. I
Flood
don't
variance
think
would
so,
have
yeah.
to be issued by the board going into it.
Yeah. See, that's where it gets convoluted
Yeah.
there.
Which can be done. It is right on the margin, and then when you're talking, you've got to choose a line where where, say, if it's over this and under this, you've got these requirements. Now, if this is
pretty much
0.99 acres
federally
and the other
mandated,
option
too.
is 5.5 acres, clearly there's a difference there. But when you're talking 0.89, 0.99 acres versus 1.01 acres,
Size of this room,
there's a very relative difference in size, and so when you get to that margin, that's where
half the size.
things get tricky, but, codes, you have to draw the line in the sand somewhere, and they deal with the margins as they come, so.
Okay. Other questions? Determination? A nod in what direction? What do you guys want to do?
Harry?
Well, I think we all agreed, what, it was that one?
Yeah, the version 1.
As opposed to the width of the parking lots
Yeah.
is a concern on that one.
With exploring stack.
With exploring
Stack,
stack.
right.
Again, we're not requiring the stack part, but that's something to look at, just to bring that number up a little
I
bit.
mean, even if you could minimize or reduce the number of people right now that are in the overflow, I think it makes it more, to me, palatable to say, yeah, that's okay, because the reality is there might be a few people who don't need parking spaces. But if you reduce that amount, you're obviously going to the good for you. Is the reality is there are going to be more people that way who don't need the parking space.
Okay, so you got some ideas?
Well, depends on how much more money I want to spend. or I could just walk away from this whole thing and just build that.
Still have to
So
go through
that's
Title
up to me.
41 on this, right?
I meet all the requirements though, Paul.
Mhm.
That's the bottom line. What I am willing to look at, and I'm going to go back here in the next few days and look at this, is possibly doing something with this lot with the hope that a PUD can, what'd you call it?
Well, I
Deed
think,
restricted
Deed
parking.
restrict a parking area, because I wasn't sure if that was, you're allowed to do that on a PUD.
Well, if you, and pretty much you're pretty wide open with a PUD, it's probably too out there in terms of what our current code
Tony,
is.
I think what
This-
you do is you go through the BZA.
Yeah,
on
the other,
minimum amount that you're asking. for
Right,
there,
that's what I'm saying.
I think
It's
you
just
make
like
that,
it's
but even
so-
if you're denied, it's not, then you look at the deed restrictions.
If the 74, for instance, was,
Flood
The
issue.
variance on
Isn't
the
that a
flood.
federally mandated thing?
No, this is city. The 50 and the 25 are in the city's part of the code, not the Fed. Fed only deals with 100-year and the flood.
I mean, even if you're denied, it's not gonna change you, then you can look at the title, the deeded parking, but if you're approved, then it works. And then you're getting a variance for this build thing, which is a concern why you took that one out there to begin with, otherwise, because you had it in on your original plans that you submitted to me, and they looked good.
Yeah.
okay,
We still didn't have any more parking though.
No, you left it green, that
There
was
was
true,
no more parking.
that was a green
And
space.
you guys all said it looked great. No more parking, actually. I just redrew it with the same amount of parking and reduced it and brought in, I think it was 4% less green was basically what I brought in to the table.
What about this as a potential?
And you know what?
Tony?
That green, that doesn't even consider the city right-of-ways. I think we ran numbers on that, and that kicked us up to 47% green with, because this is going back. We only took our numbers within our perimeter. We did not consider city right-of-ways. And when I did that, we were up to 47% as far as green on these lots. And that's with the city right-of-way, because that's like 12 feet. In some areas, it was 8 to 12 feet back. And we drew those in. This was not even taken into consideration on those green areas.
but you can't guarantee city right of ways. I mean,
Right.
things will change over time.
No, and that's fine, but I'm just saying, if you're looking at the overlook of the project, there's actually more green than 39%. Or, let's, off this one,
38.
38%.
Okay.
okay, well,
Okay, so you've got the ideas, right?
I guess the ball's in my hands and whether I want to move forward with this or not. And I don't have a problem trying to move forward. We're going to go back, I'm going to take a look at this. And I am going to put something together that's going to be a little more, I'm going to come to you guys in 2 weeks and say, look, here's what we are proposing with what we're talking about, to an extent. I'm going to probably back off some of these things and say, if you guys aren't happy with this, then I'm going to move in a different direction. And I'm going to say, okay, look, this is what they're looking for, and I'm just being honest, but they're talking one way and acting another.
Okay. There you are. Sounds like a plan.
And I appreciate you guys' talk.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all your comments.
Okay.
And we're going to take a look at trying to make this better for you guys.
Okay, you got it? Yeah.
I think also, even though you've got the location, I think from a rental standpoint, something like this is a much more appealing aspect to students as well.
Oh, yeah. It's for everybody, not just me.
Glad you took notes. I couldn't get to mine.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, appreciate your time. I might want to talk to you a bit more, Paul. Who you call.
Are there reports from the city planner?
I have a few pieces of nuggets of information for you guys. February 1st, at 6:30 p.m., the city will be having a town hall meeting. This will be open mic situation where if citizens would like to come, they have 3 minutes on the clock to discuss issues that they think are important to the community. Mayor Weil will be listening to those issues, and we'll have an opportunity to discuss Several other members of the city administration, I would assume, will be present. I have it on my calendar, and I assume Mr. Paskey will, as well as our service safety director, among others. But the planning commission, I do think it would be good to see a few planning commissioners there. In all likelihood, there will be some issues related to planning that citizens would be bringing up, so it's good to hear what people are talking about. On other issues, I do have a OU student who graduated well, he's no longer an OU grad. He's an OU graduate who's living in Athens for this quarter, just working in Athens. He's going to be working with me to do some GIS in relation to our flood plain. And he's identified a project that we're going to try to get done where he uses 3D visualization to actually show the extent of the FEMA mapped 100-year floodplain, to actually show how high it would get and how that relates to existing buildings in the city of Athens, so we can actually convey that information better to the public. He and I are going to be working on that over the next few weeks.
Just in reference, I remember at least 15 years ago, OU did a performance of very similar, and I don't think it was GIS based, it was more like a graphic presentation of elevations every 1 foot and where it would flood first on their campus. I remember kind of surprised at that point about where it came through. It actually was going to back up at Stimson and go back towards the golf course at that time. It actually precipitated the Clippinger lab removing a lot of their chemicals, at least almost 2/3 of their chemicals out of their basement at the time. The idea there is that there's probably some data out there. It's probably old. It's probably not as accurate as what you have. But there was a presentation that they did. OU, I imagine it was facilities management at the time or some other name.
I believe the River Conservancy has that now. I think they talked about it the last meeting I went to.
Okay.
Okay.
I just mentioned that it's probably not accurate. It was, as I say, more of a cartoon and a presentation rather than GIS based, but it gave them some insights. So when they said the river elevation will be such, do we sandbag or do we move stuff out? Which was very instructive. I think I was sitting in the audience at the time for the presentation.
Okay. I'll check on that.
Yeah.
Thank you. A few other things. City Council will be doing a public hearing on the lot coverage requirements on Monday, coming up January 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did say the town hall meeting was February 1st. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
And January 10th is 7 o'clock is public hearing.
Yeah. Met with Mr. Spezza a few days ago. He presented to the Planning Commission in December about an evaluation or the potential of annexing in some property off of East State Street that he owns. There are some issues that he has to work out to get access to a portion of that property to do what he would like to, what he presented to the Planning Commission. He's working on those issues right now to see if he can resolve that situation. So I did recommend that if he's serious about proceeding with an annexation agreement, that because of the process, you do have to go through the township trustees and the county commissioners, that he should be starting, his discussion should begin on that end first and then come back to the city, since we've already listened to what he had to say.
Okay.
And I do think it's important we should resume that discussion, hopefully at the next meeting or the first meeting in February, on the wireless communications ordinance. I've got a feeling that that's going to be an issue we're going to be facing pretty soon within Athens, and we should be prepared for it.
Internet cafes down the road.
Yeah, that's something I think we do need to look at. I know John or I sent you guys some links to some articles and that from what have been popping up in other cities around the state. There's no doubt there's a loophole in the state law that's permitting these right now. It'll be interesting to see what happens as the casinos that are going to be coming online in the state of Ohio over the next few years. I can't imagine that a casino owner is going to be happy to see a loophole that might drive potential customers away from his business. But I think it's something we may want to look at. It seems natural that they'd be looking in any area of the state that they don't already have these operations involved. Whether Athens is the right spot or there's another spot in Athens County, I don't know. But yeah, I think we should probably take a good look at that it is up to the planning commission to determine what they'd like to work on, though. So. And that's all I have for this afternoon.
John?
Paul already touched on the antenna or wireless ordinance. I agree that we need to get on that, stay with that. I did receive a phone call about one yesterday, actually, so they were asking about it. So I think we need to continue moving forward on that. And the continuation of the sign meeting tomorrow night, 5:30, right here.
Okay.
Or downstairs, I should say.
And the zoning board of appeals, I see you have 2 cases coming at you.
Yes, the second one, I don't know if Paul Eschenbacher sent out a revised.
Yeah, it's basically parking for the donkey, I believe.
parking
Apartments
for
above
the-
the donkey.
Apartments above the donkey.
Okay.
Yes, is what the donkey one should have said.
Okay, and essentially that's what they're looking at is we've got somebody trying to put 4 apartments in, 16 total tenants. They're looking for 16 variance for
Leased
16
parking.
parking spaces too far away, 280 feet away versus 2
And leased, but not deeded. So both of
leased and not deeded.
distance and leasing.
And of course, the other one is the integrated services apartment complex on 10 Graham.
That they, I believe, came in here and did a preliminary.
Yes,
on
and
it.
they're looking for a variance as well for parking.
Correct.
And again, this is part of the philosophy. We realize the next 2 zoning board of appeals are related to parking issues and parking spaces. Okay. Anything else?
That is it.
There are no citizens here to speak about items not covered on the agenda. Announcements and other business. Next meeting, January 19th, 2011 at noon here at Athens City Hall. Disposition of minutes. Any questions or
No, I looked at
comments about the minutes?
I move we accept the minutes.
As usual, I'll second it.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Approved unanimously.
Right.
Let's see, at that point, call this meeting to adjournment.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.